Yo guys, Vision here bringing you some more Marvel Rivals content. With today's video, I'll be bringing you the full Rogue guide following the latest update, breaking down all of her abilities, including her team up with Gambit, and addressing both her strengths and weaknesses. This is episode 42 of my Hero Series guides with all of the previous episodes already on the channel. So on that note, let's get right into it. So first things first, what I'll do as usual is give you guys a bit of an overview of the character before we get into the details of her abilities. Rogue is the 45th hero added to Marvel Rivals in Season 5.5, a 675 base health Vanguard with life force absorption, power absorption, memory absorption, cravonium, energy manipulation, superhuman strength, superhuman durability, and of course flight, being a resilient hybrid tank excelling at reliably closing those gaps on foes via dashes and mobility tools. Much of her kit focuses on sort of debuffing enemy attributes and amplifying her own strengths. Her primary attack is the Power Surge Punch, which delivers 2 rapid melee hits followed by a deliberate thrusting blow that then inflicts marginally higher damage, with her secondary ability being the defensive stance. By pressing L2 on PlayStation, this is similar to the likes of maybe Emma Frost or Magneto, consuming resources to mitigate frontal damage intake and magnetically pull in any incoming projectiles. The block damage builds up backlash energy, boosting the potency of the next Southern Brawl attack, which the Southern Brawl effectively triggers a forward dash with a melee strike that slightly sort of knocks back targets, expanding all accumulated backlash energy, and it can be activated mid-defensive stance. By holding L2 and then pressing R2 will allow you to effectively lunge towards the enemy, and any prolonged use of the defensive stance basically exposes her to distant crowd control effects like the Winter Soldier's Bionic Hook or even Lunar Snow's Absolute Zero, as it offers no crowd control immunity, so you need to consider this as you're only going to be blocking projectiles incoming. Now the Fatal Attraction executes a brief dash, which can be sort of recast to spawn a short-lived zone around Rogue and herself that applies damage over time to any enemies that are inside that zone. So a great AoE expert in terms of her utility, and after a brief sort of pause in itself, any foes in that area get yanked towards the center and effectively allows her to sort of control the situation and really be effective at dealing AoE. The Chrono Kick combo then launches a dash that holds enemies airborne, granting Rogue some brief free flight mobility, and in flight she gains 2 charges for a projectile shot that can recast for plunging strikes and into the ground, which makes for a really cool and satisfying combo. Now the projectile hits also grant her with bonus health, so the self-sustain and regeneration is really crucial for you to understand how to both stay alive with this character, similar to the likes of the Thing, with a mobility and just sort of evasive kit management character. This is going to be sort of fundamental in how you can stay alive. The 2 characters that do come to mind are the Thing and Mr. Fantastic, which what this is basically reminding me of, and I think was somewhat being relative to how you would basically play, relying on the elasticity or the Stone Haymaker build up on both regenerating its bonus health and being able to stay in the action with a brawling style build. Now any enemies in the diving strikes paths are then dragged downwards with her, streamlining the ability combos and making it really satisfying and also both difficult to master but effective when in skilled hands. Now the ability absorption basically propels her in a dash to slam and pin the first hit enemy to the ground, also recovering a small amount of health while then stealing one of the enemy's abilities, i.e. Psylocke's Psychic Stealth or Loki's Regeneration Domain. She then gains Unstoppable during this absorption sequence as well, making it that she's going to secure this ability and take it away. Now this is where I would say the skill gap is going to lie and really sort of allow players to elevate to a whole new level when learning this character, knowing who to take the ability off of when you're in those sort of motions, when you're playing out team fights. If you take the likes of maybe Doctor Strange's Shield of Seraphim away from him, making him far less effective, negating his use as a damage blocker, and then giving you that same ability alongside other tanks and Vanguards on your team, this is where I think you're going to stand out as a Vanguard main and a Rogue player in yourself. And I would say this is where the skill gap, like I said, is going to really extend and show who understands how to play the brawling hybrid playstyle, using the kit properly, managing it really well, and also stealing the correct abilities, timing your kit management, making sure you also understand the cooldowns is really going to be the fundamental parts of learning these characters. Who isn't going to be able to be taken this ability from? There are 13 of them. Effectively, most of them are sort of kit management characters or weapon-led characters such as Winter Soldier, Penny Parker, Star-Lord, you name it. There are several characters like that. Even Mr. Fantastic, you can't take his any elasticity. So anything like that, you can't take. So learning the 13 characters, which there are 13 total, that you cannot take their abilities is really crucial, because against any heroes that lack any absorbable abilities, the Fatal Attractions cooldown is instead resets, and the absorption then applies role-specific buffs to Rogue and debuffs that victim instead, fading shortly after the pin ends. The Vanguards add 125 maximum HP to Rogue, whilst then stripping 20 from the enemy in itself, whereas Duelist will provide a 20% damage amplifier to Rogue, cutting the output of that duelist by 3%, and therefore on strategist it offers a healing over time, reducing the enemy healing by 4%, which is, as you can see, it's still effective against those heroes where you can't take their abilities, but it also is not going to be as effective as the likes of, like I said, taking the way maybe a Vanguard or a strategist ability. This is where I think you're going to really give your team that massive lead in team fights and succession, with being able to take the likes of maybe a Magneto or a Doctor Strange ability, being stronger in the frontal sort of battle with the Vanguards, or even taking away strategist abilities. You can even take the likes of the sort of soul bond from Adam Warlock. Imagine having an Adam Warlock on your team soul bonding as well as you doing the same thing and taking away the enemy team soul bond. It makes their Adam useless whilst also making your teams far more stronger and likely to win a team fight. Now, as for her ultimate ability, this is another groundbreaking one with the Heartbreaker, generating a prominent zone around her that then ticks damage over time to nearby enemies and also then siphons their ultimate charge if it's over 80%. So if they are really at the sort of peak of about to pop their ability, this is really crucial at shutting them down and winning that team fight, especially in the ultimate department. It also then leeches role-based stats and buffs, adding up to 400 extra HP to any Vanguards, providing a 35% damage boost from duelists and any hailing over time from strategists as well, which, as you can see, is going to be a super effective ultimate when used right and in coordination with other teammates. Rogue also has the team up ability with Gambit, which unlocks the Hearts as one, supercharging Power Surge Punch for 8 seconds, which then unleashes shockwaves on hits, dealing percent base damage to any nearby enemies. And also the key part here is restoring health to any allies in range as well, making it a perfect hybrid Vanguard in herself. So as you can see, there are plenty of abilities here to understand. Rogue is incredible, but also difficult to both understand and play as, with a 5-star difficulty hero. So my advice, remain patient, take your time to learn this character, and you will enjoy this incredible new hero that we've all been asking for quite some time. I'm a massive fan of Vanguards in this game. I am a Vanguard main, and this is going to be a character I'm going to really enjoy playing, both understanding and being effective with later on. When the Thing first came out earlier in the seasons, I found him quite difficult initially to get understanding on how you play a mobility character that's also a brawler, and this is a similar sort of feel, whereas I kind of understand the concept on how you want to approach team fights on both the frontal aspect as well as being a brawler, but of course the whole hybrid playstyle and the fact that she can take abilities away from key players in the sort of battle, I think this is going to be a real separator in making her a unique personality, making her a really fundamental part on both expanding the player pool and also just making this a really cool and interesting dynamic, which will no doubt increase and elevate the skill gap and really allow players who understand this style of play, especially Vanguard mains, to really allow them to excel at being good at the game. But we'll have to see how the character plays out in future seasons and see how she can be balanced and see what sort of systems and metas she plays sort of better with or against in just due course. We'll have to see how repetitions go underway with making her both more effective in future seasons, or of course nerfing her if she becomes too broken and overpowered, which I do not think right now she will be whatsoever, but we'll have to see, like I said, in future seasons. But there you guys pretty much have it. If you've enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any comments or thoughts about playing as Rogue, or any cool clips, of course, that you want to share, let me know, guys, down below in the comments, and I'll get right back to you. I'm VisionSGen. Hope you enjoyed the video and found this useful, and I'll see you in the next one.